So I'm sitting here today with Lisa Cregan. Lisa was the most senior woman in the field of wealth management at Morgan Stanley, where she drove talent development strategies that expanded leadership diversity and strengthened succession pipelines. She was appointed head of field leadership readiness and acquisition there at Morgan Stanley, and just recently retired in January of 2025 after a 4-decade career. She now advances diverse leadership coaching executives and through her Climb, Pause, Live Foundation. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Kathy. Happy to do it.
As I alluded to in your bio, you have spent 4 decades both building your career and building the successful career of other people. And in that role, you have several times either coached people on how to be better negotiators when negotiating at the table for their jobs, or you have been on the other side receiving people who have come in to ask for something from their job. And so my first question to you is, with all of that experience, what tips do you have? What words of advice do you have for people as they prepare before they go in to, say, negotiate a better job offer or negotiate a better job placement?
I mean, the biggest mistake I see people make is they assume that time in seat equals a promotion or more or a better job. And the most important thing that people have to learn how to do is to be able to tell their story and not just discuss their resume, and connect the dots of everything they've done into a narrative about who they are and the choices they've made, what shaped their leadership style. And they need to understand who the audience is. They need to think about what they value, how their skills and experiences intersect with the needs of the person that they're talking to, the organization, and be able to articulate their why. Why do they want to make a career change? Why do they want to do whatever this? Why do they think they deserve more? What did they accomplish? What are the things that they can point to that would indicate to the person that they're speaking to that they're capable of taking on this new role, taking on the new responsibility, and articulate, the reasons that show reflection, self-awareness, their understanding of their own personal growth, and finally do their homework on the organization and understand what the organization needs and is looking for, and that way they can tailor their story and the things that they're passionate about and match them with the needs of the organization.
Perfect. So to put it in negotiation terms, I would say that you want to take the perspective of the other party and understand what their why is and what your why is. So the underlying interests. Show respect by doing your homework, not about the other party and the job, but also about the company. And then finally, telling stories, because people like to understand the story behind everything. That's actually how people learn best and process information best, is through stories. So I really appreciate that. So as you go into the negotiation, are there any particular things that you lead with, or are there any particular pitfalls that you've seen people make?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on the reverse of the pointers that you just gave are the biggest mistakes people make. And the first is that they don't really know their own story. They come in unprepared, and as you said, when you're unprepared, that's just disrespect, and that's telling the other person that you didn't feel it was worth your time to get ready for this important conversation, and you didn't anticipate questions that would be asked. You didn't research the organization. You didn't understand the person you're talking to and what their needs are. And so that is just a form of disrespect. And then the other is that people tend to talk through their resume. And the storytelling aspect that you just emphasized is so critical, because people, they're not hiring an employee, they're hiring an individual. And if they, when you do get to the point where you're going to be talking about compensation, if you set yourself up first as the person that they know is the best for the job and are so certain that your passions align with the needs of the organization as well as your background, then the negotiation about value is going to go much easier because they want you. And so your first job in any kind of an interview is to have them want you the most. And you'll find that the firm or the person that wants you the most will pay the most.
Interesting. And so that gets to a couple of points. I mean, first, the idea that I think people undervalue how much they need to create a narrative, create a story so that they aren't just a collection of little check marks on a resume, because that isn't what people are hiring for. That's so important to know. And then the other one is something that's so fundamental to negotiations, the alternatives, the BATNA, like who wants you the most and who do they want the most? What you want to be to them is the person that they want the most. Isn't that really what you're saying?
Yes, and also if you're on the hiring side, you know, you may face budget limitations. You may be negotiating for somebody that you really want, and you don't know if you can provide the value that they feel like they deserve. In that case, you know, from the other side of the table, you need to show this person that you're going to develop them more and take them farther in their career if they're just willing to put their trust in you, to take this leap and join you and be part of your team. Then you're gonna, while you may not be able to give them the delta that they feel like they deserve to take this opportunity, they know in the long run it's going to be a great choice to align themselves with you because you're dedicated to their advancement.
Wow, that is so good because if you flip that around, actually, this is exactly the dilemma that or I shouldn't say the dilemma, the opportunity that one of my sons just faced. He got two job offers and he actually ended up taking the one that had a lower starting salary because he just felt like he was going to be coached and mentored better, developed better.
Yeah.
He said, Chris, I think that counts for something. And that's sort of what you're saying too, right? It's people should listen for that when they're
Yeah.
in the discussion.
Yeah, because again, you know, for the students who are listening to this, you're going to find yourselves on both sides of the table. You're going to be trying to find an opportunity, and then you're going to be uh, faced with a time when you're trying to build a team. And at the early stages in your career, rarely are you given a business that has all A team in there. You know, you have to take it over. You have to establish yourself as the leader. You have to create your vision, and then you have to draw people into that vision, to join you in what typically is not the best performing place in a company, right? They don't test you out in their best
Hmm.
jobs. They test you out in the ones that are really challenging, and you have to find a way to attract people, A-level people that you can bring on to help you make the change in this company to show why you're all capable of taking on more.
Wow. That's such an inspirational ending. I actually think we should probably end it there. There's this idea that every opportunity that you have is this potential to show how much value you can produce for the firm and how much value you can coach out of others. It's kind of
Yeah.
what you're saying, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here. I do really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kathy. It was fun. Always happy to chat with you.